Right, I think this video is going to be a sort of a bit of a cross between a task and a bit of explanation, because this one is not particularly tricky. Well, we'll see how we go. I don't always wing all of these videos, but let's see how we get on. The whole point is this. My car at the moment can sort of circle around here, and I can increase my lap counter by doing this. So what I really want to do is I actually want to say, look, the lap counter can only go up by one if the car has passed through a couple of other points on the track. That's weird. I was pointing at the screen with my finger like you could see that. No. So basically what I'm saying is maybe I need a marker here and a marker here. But what would be kind of cool is instead of making those markers like the start finish, if we make them invisible markers. Now, we can't have them as just being sort of colours. I'm actually going to have to make sprites to do that with. And the logical thing to do is make sprites that kind of are grey and green. I just don't want a grey sprite, because if someone does veer off the track, then they're going to, well, you'll see what I mean in a moment. I'm going to show you how to make the first mark counter, and then we'll get you to make the second one, and I'll set you a little task to do. I will stop wittering. Let's start drawing something. We need to make this marker, so I'm going to paint a new sprite, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a rectangle in the colour of the track, and I am going to just make it a couple of pixels thick, maybe something around about like that. That will do. And I'm going to take a little bit of green. I'm just going to use a little, let's click a couple of times here. Sometimes you're never too sure how this is going to work out. I'm just going to do a little bit of green there. Hopefully you can see that. If you can't, of course, what I should be doing, what an idiot I am, why don't I actually just use a green line and go like that? Didn't work too well actually, did it? I think maybe I'm better off using my little brush. But the whole point is once I've filled that side, then thankfully I can take the paint bucket and fill the rest. So you can see that I've kind of got this sprite here now, and when I do that you can see a little bit of green on the end. Now the reason for doing this is that I'm going to kind of drop that there, and then I clearly need to add a bit more to that one and take my paint bucket and fill that like that. Ooh, maybe that's gone a bit too close to there. Look, I can just move the sprite, move it over a little bit, can't I actually? Hold on, there it is, put it on the edge of the track. Fantastic. And I'm going to have to colour in the other side. I'm not going to colour in the other side because you get what I'm doing, right? So eventually you end up with almost like an invisible marker on the track. So let's just go back to the scripts here. In fact, we're going to go back to the yellow car. Now this marker is currently called Sprite 1. That was very foolish of me. Give it a name. And I'm going to call this, well, I think we'll just call it marker 1. Okay, so I'm just going to call it marker 1, and there we go, and it's called marker 1. I'm probably going to have a similar one down here. Okay, you could even, I wonder if you could duplicate it and rotate it. I'm sure that you probably could do actually, couldn't you? I wonder if we did that like that. Yes, look at that. The annoying thing is that I kind of want that back at 90. Anyway, I've got it back there. So you could make a duplicate of it and then just pop it down there and rotate it 180. I'll leave that up to you. But what I'm going to do now is think about the fact that let's just close that a second. We now want the car to only go through this pink line if it has gone through this marker. So what I need to do is I need to create another variable that is associated with a number. Look, I'll just make the damn thing. Watch. Let's make a variable, and what we're going to call it is I'm going to call it we'll call it yellow mark counter. Yellow mark count. And I'm going to press OK. And I don't actually want to see that one, but I'm going to leave it there for the moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to almost use exactly the same as this here. In fact, so much so that I'm just going to duplicate this whole block and drop it here. But I'm not touching a colour this time. I need to be saying that I am touching marker 1, I'm not changing yellow car lap by 1. I'm going to change yellow mark count by 1, and I'm going to wait maybe, I don't know, 2 seconds to make sure that I'm clear of it. So you can see here that I've got pretty much the same routine. But here, what I want to say is, I'm just going to move this out of the way, so it's not, we'll just put that out of the way up there. We know that mark counter is going to work. Here, I don't want to say, and this is your task by the way, I don't want to say if I'm touching colour then. I actually want to be saying if I am touching colour purple and the yellow mark count is equal to 1, then do this. So, what tools do I need to do that? Well, this is going to take us back to here. I want to say if touching colour and the yellow mark counter is equal to 1. Now I'll give you a little clue. You could put 1 in there. You can drag something into there. You could drag something that maybe I'm hovering over into there. So I'm going to set a little task now that you're going to change this so that it doesn't ask the question if I'm touching colour purple on its own. It asks the question if I'm touching colour purple and yellow mark counter is equal to 1, then increase yellow car lap by 1. I'm also going to set another little task. What happens if that's true and the car then goes through the pink line? What would you need to do to set it all back so that when the car goes through it again for the second time around the track it still works? So I'm going to leave that task with you. A couple of things to do there. Make it ask 2 questions and think about what happens when it goes through it for the first time, because you'll need to change something to make sure the second time goes through it, the yellow car lap will go up to 2. Go and see if you can solve it.